This Massena political meeting is brought to you by An Italian Affair, located at 339 East Orvis Street in Massena. Call 315-764-9829 for takeout orders, or visit their website at italianaffair.com. Pizza and pasta at its finest.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you see me on screen?
No.
I'm here though. Okay, so everybody should have a copy of the treasurer's report, as well as the projections and the budget report and trial balance. All of this is reflected through March, so it's all caught up. The only thing going on, 21st we paid, March 21st we received $309,000 and change from New York State for CHIPS, paid New York and the extreme winter recovery monies. We also in the month paid the community center bond, March 15th. Total amount of the payment was just under $70,000, but it was $45,000 in principal and about $24,000 in interest. The remaining balance is $1.12 million on that bond, so we still have quite a long time to pay on it. The only action that I have tonight, is the GASB 75. Actually, sorry, this is not an interim evaluation. This should be it's going to be a full actuary. I think it's every 3 years we can do every 3 years we have to do a full actuary. The other 2 years are just interim rollovers. So this should not be an interim. This is a full evaluation. Because of that, it's a little bit more involved. So there's more money involved. So the price is a little bit higher in those years. So this year the price is $5,750. That is coming from them, so they did quote me that amount a couple weeks ago. So I'll need to have that approved.
That is for the full actuary.
Correct.
Okay. Well moved. Motion from Trustee Carville. Do I have a second? I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Feld.
Thank you. Any questions on COVID-related activities in our department?
Well, everyone is doing a great job. Trustees, if you haven't reviewed already, the treasurer sent a list of accounts that could be potentially impacted. Something, as you all know, we're going to need to be mindful of as we navigate through this COVID-19 era is the state budget is in flux. The governor has some additional powers beyond what he normally would have, and the state aid that is budgeted may not necessarily stay the same. So definitely some strict financial waters ahead, and everyone just needs to be mindful of that as we proceed with any. But the treasurer did share some potential items that we want to specifically be mindful of. So please take a look at that movement. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you.
Committee reports, code enforcement, myself and Trustee Carville.
I think I just done.
Economic development, myself, Trustee Winston.
Nothing to report.
Order committee, myself, Trustee Carville.
No, we haven't met.
Well, they are doing a phenomenal job with all of our crew on COVID-19 related.
Yeah, I see them around enforcing the number of patrons that could be in a restaurant or whatever at one time.
Good job. Personnel committee, Trustee Winston, Trustee DeShays.
Nothing at this time.
Police committee, Trustee Carville, Trustee DeShays.
Nothing at this time.
Recreation commission, Trustee Carville, Trustee DeShays.
We have the report here, but did not attend the meeting.
Trustee Duchesne, do you have anything for recreation at this time?
No activity going on down there. No report.
Good thing. Street Committee, Trustee Winston, myself. Trustee Winston, do you want to speak to the request we had, or would you like me to?
You can.
So we do have a resident that reached out to us regarding potentially placing a stop sign on an intersection of Prospect and Westwood.
Yeah.
Trustee Winston and I will be looking into the issues there, consulting with the chief as we normally do in terms of traffic accidents, speed issues, potential enforcement, and then we'll also get back in terms of whether or not we recommend the board explore further action. So we'll be in touch. That was just put on our radar, so we'll look into it a little more. Water and Sewer Committee, myself and Trustee Winston.
Nothing to report.
Initial public comment period. Again, the way we're going to do initial public comment period is if you would like to speak, please indicate in the chat and the clerk will unmute you and then you can identify yourself and make your public comment. So we'll give this a little bit in case there's a little delay. But if you have an initial public comment you'd like to make, please indicate in the chat so you can be unmuted. We'll just give it 30 more seconds. In lieu of awkward silence, I hope everyone is staying safe during this COVID-19. Keep in mind, the social distancing is the way out of this. Really optimistic that we're seeing the beginning of the end, maybe, the end of the beginning, however you want to put it. Everyone's frustrated, including the animals. But it's the best thing to stay at home and stay safe. So.
I'd like telling you where those dogs live, but they're not very far from me.
I'm not seeing any requests for the initial public comment period, so we'll go ahead and move on, and we'll do public comment again at the end of the meeting. First up on the agenda is old business was a proposed resolution for the authorization of an agreement with Barton and Lajadis for professional planning services related to local waterfront revitalization. Trustees, you may recall that the last meeting we decided to table this. We wanted some clarification on the cost aspect. This is a grant we received. Jim Murphy working on behalf for the LWRP. It would be a study that would be done for the waterfront redevelopment. I spoke to the mayor this afternoon about this. Of particular importance for this study is it gives you points when you're going for the bigger grants, when you're going for the grants that can actually result in development. It adds strength to your grant applications if you have a current updated plan and study. So that's the justification for this. That being said, I shared my concern that the unknown financial outlook for the year, that I was hesitant personally to move forward immediately on something like this, simply because even though the village share may seem small and be just a portion of it, it's still at least $25,000. And we have a lot of stuff that we have to accomplish in the village. Street repairs have to continue. So if the state aid doesn't come up, Trustee Carwell and I talked about this earlier, if the state aid doesn't come in the way it's supposed to be, we could be in a really tough position. So we're going to need every dollar, every cent in savings that we can to make sure that we're making the critical repairs needed. So I'm going to, we'll open it for discussion, but I'm going to suggest we table it again, find out that if there's a drop dead date for the grant, and then explore it further when we know more of the financials. But my recommendation would be to table it, but certainly open it up for discussion. Hearing no discussion.
I make a motion that we table this at least till next meeting.
Motion by trustee Carvel to table.
I second that.
Seconded by trustee Winston. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is tabled. Business is tabled. New business, we have some appointments. Just some clarification on this. These are not new hires. These are not the positions that we talked about looking at what we need to fill, when we need to fill. These are internal moves that have been in play for a couple of months. There were some retirements, and these are individuals that applied and interviewed to move from their current position into a new position that resulted from retirements. So first up is A, the appointment of Michael Donahue, water, wastewater treatment plant operator trainee.
Although,
Motion by trustee Carvel,
Second.
seconded by trustee Winston. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Four in favor. Under B, we have appointment of Corey Hamilton, senior motor equipment mechanic foreman.
That's a move.
Motion by trustee Winston. I will second. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
oppose.
Motion passes 3-1. Next up, under new business, we have discussion spring cleanup. So, like everything, COVID-19 has impacted. It appears that will impact spring cleanup as well. As you know, this year we were looking to expand the time frame, and we had mapped out a plan that we were going to propose for the month of May. So we need to decide, and perhaps we can unmute superintendent if he is on, so he can join the conversation as well. But we need to decide if we're doing spring cleanup, when are we doing it? What's the safest way to do it? All those factors. So we at least have some discussion. We've been getting a lot of calls on this. It's a service that residents have been looking forward to utilizing. So I think there's a lot of people that have stuff that they're ready to bring. We just need to make sure we have the appropriate safe way to do it and the appropriate time frame to do it. So open it up for discussion and thoughts on that. Superintendent, do you want to add anything to that before we discuss?
Can you hear me?
We cannot. It's very faint.
Right? Is this better?
Right. So our first technical difficulty, we can't hear the superintendent. So trustees, your thoughts on spring cleanup?
Go ahead, Colleen.
I was just going to say, can we postpone it a month and do it the end of May? I know lots of people are anxious to get it going, but we still have to maintain safety.
That was my initial thought, but we also have to remember that there's a couple of factors we got to find out from the superintendent. We have to find out from the county because of the sheer volume that the village has during these cleanup days, what is going to be possible for their operations. And then we also have to find out for any crew that we're using, is it going to impact other summer projects such as street work?
Okay.
And my comment is, take a look at the streets. We got leaves all over the place. And I read someplace that they're not going to do it for now and do certain days and stuff like that. We got to get rid of that stuff so we can put our junk out to the curb so we can pick it up on cleanup days. We got to get rid of these leaves right now. And brush.
Thank you, Trustee DeShays. We will actually be sending crews out very soon. The superintendent, myself, and the mayor have been speaking, and he is coming up with a plan for once we have our workers able to safely do so. We will get the village cleaned back up. That includes streets and whatnot. It includes resuming picking up of leaves and limbs. And then once that's done, we can focus on streets. Just a reminder, this won't be curbside pickup. We did away with that. it'll be same as last year where you get vouchers. This year it'll be 2 vouchers instead of 1. So it won't be curbside pickup. It'll be just like it was last year. But great point.
I think we should go with the dates that were set.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be involve a lot of close contact between the DPW employees and the people bringing their stuff to the landfill.
You got to get the vouchers out.
And I think it worked very well, considering that we changed it last year. And with anything, when you have a change, there is a few hiccups that go along with it, but I think we're trying to work those out. This year, we try to do a few things differently, and we'll see how this goes. But the longer we delay it, we're going to, we don't know when this stuff's going to be over with, when we're going to be able to go back. If we keep on delaying this, when we're ready to go, then we'll have this to deal with, and we should be dealing with stuff that is more important, or stuff that, has to be done. So, like I say, there's minimal contact with the residents and the DPW that has to inspect it. So, with the proper care for the employee, with the with the proper protective equipment, I'd say we go ahead with it and get at least one thing out of the way.
Other thoughts? Trustee Winton, Trustee DeShays?
Oh, it spoke my mind. All I'll do is take a ride up and down the street, and you can see leaves all over the place. They're all packaged, ready to go. They've been there for a long time. The sooner we get rid of them, the better off we can get ready for our cleanup days. Period.
We'll be doing that. Just keep in mind, Trustee DeShays, we've been under the direction of the governor's orders. So the reason the leaves were not picked up was the governor's orders for non-essential work to not happen. So it's not for a lack of will. Trust me, the employees are eager to get out there and get the job done. But we have to follow state mandates. So that's the only reason that leaves have been there. So, trustees, I was able to connect with the superintendent via messaging. He would like us to consider June instead of May. Does not look like it would appear to impact projects, but we're actually pushed back because of what I was just saying to the trustee DeShays, is because we've had a few weeks of not doing certain things. That would allow us not only time to get the vouchers out, but it would allow us time to get caught up, get the village cleaned up a bit, and then have everyone free. So his recommendation and ask of us is to consider pushing it for June under the same plan we have for May.
That makes sense.
I think that's a good idea, because you got these people who are down south for the winter. They'll be back home for sure.
Yeah.
That'll give them a little bit more time.
All right, so it sounds like we're in consensus that June will be appropriate then.
Amen.
Yes, that works.
The superintendent worked with the mayor to flesh out the details. Thank you, Treasurer, will be noted. And they will work out the details that we already worked on previously and push it out to the press and to the public so everyone is on the same page as to what we're doing. So spring cleanup will still be happening. It's just going to be delayed. It'll be in June. Details to follow very soon. All right. Thank you all. Voucher warrants.
I move that the voucher warrant signed by Trustee DeShays, Trustee LeVere, myself, and Mayor Courier be approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. We have a couple monthly reports from Massena Volunteer Fire, Massena Permanent Firefighters, and Code Enforcement. Communications correspondence, I don't have any. You guys have anything? Actually, if everyone didn't see the governor at his daily briefing today, did announce that the reopening of the state will be occurring regionally. I know that's something that there's been a lot of concern and anxiety that we're going to be on the same time as other regions such as New York City. So while details still have to be fleshed out, that's certainly a great thing for many of us to hear. That's going to be a regional approach. It's going to be based on data and facts. So it might be a little bit of, hang in there, but it's staying safe at home is working. But it's nice to know that it is going to be a regional approach. So there is that light at the end of the tunnel for all this. So just want to make sure that everyone had seen that if they didn't watch it today. Closing public comment period. At this time, if anyone has a comment they'd like to make, again, please indicate in the chat. Once closing public comment is done, I'll ask the clerk to also unmute the press in case they have any questions. But closing public comment period. Just wait a few seconds in case there's any lag. Do you want to unmute Bob, Andy, and John?
Can you guys hear me?
We can now, yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, I've got two quick questions. The vote to hire Michael Donahue, was that unanimous or was that 3-1 as well?
That was 4-0.
Okay, so 4-0 and 3-1. Okay, and is it 2 vouchers per residence or 2 vouchers per resident?
I believe it actually goes based off of the account.
Okay.
So if you have one house, you have one account, you're going to get 2 vouchers. If, for instance, I have a building, I have 2 accounts because it's 2 residences. So it's going to be a set of vouchers for each account. But we'll confirm that with the superintendent. The details will be fleshed out. To be honest with you, it was a couple months ago when we fleshed out all these details. And rather than just misstate, I'd rather get everything to you concrete in writing so you can appropriately relay it as well.
Okay, sounds good. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? All right, hearing none, I do need an executive session relating to collective bargaining negotiations. I do not expect any action. And take the motion to close the public comment and go into executive session.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Folks, at this time, we'll be removing on-board members from the Zoom session for obvious reasons. Executive sessions are not open to the public. Like I said, no action is expected. Thank you for joining us, and stay safe, everyone.